So, good morning and welcome to Christ Centered Yoga. And today we're going to start in a seated position. Unless you want to be in a reclined position, I mean, it's your practice. So, certainly do what feels best for your body this morning. But if you're seated, you might want to elevate the hips with a folded blanket if you have that available, or move the excess tissue out of the way so that you feel nice and grounded through those sits bones. And just take a couple moments to just draw those shoulders back and down, maybe even circle them a few times, just because so often we come into a seated position and our shoulders are up around our ears. So see if you can just slide those shoulders away from the ears and then just allow yourself to settle in. We want a nice long spine. So ears stacking over our shoulders, shoulders over our hips, and then lengthen upward through the crown of the head. So tighten into that core a little bit and begin to kind of just check in. You can have your hands facing up or down in your lap. You might even cup your hands in your lap, or maybe you want to have your hands at heart center, whatever feels best for your body. And then just begin to settle in, closing your eyes, not just closing your eyes, but soften your gaze behind your eyelids. Sometimes we close our eyes and we squeeze them shut. So a nice soft face here, relaxing into the muscles of the face and the jaw, allowing your body to begin to be soft. So soft tissues, strong bones. Kind of think in that light. Soft tissues, strong bones. Just begin to notice the rise and fall of your natural breath. Just remembering that we cannot change what we're not aware of. So let's bring some awareness to our breathing first. Just notice how fast or slow you're breathing this morning, how deep or shallow your breath might be. Just kind of notice where the breath is located. Awesome. And then just begin to slow and deepen your breathing. So bring that breath deeply in through the nose, filling into the lungs, expanding and inflating the belly and the rib cage in every direction. So 3 dimensions here. And as you exhale, just soften into the belly and the rib cage, breathing all that breath back out. So you might even envision in your mind's eye just one of those kinesthetic spheres that kids play with, and they're kind of made of that lattice material and they expand in every direction like a globe as you inhale. And then on the exhale, shrinking that back down, maybe to a tiny little ball. So kind of visualize that as you breathe, really trying to take a breath in all 3 dimensions, filling up a little bit more each time. And as you exhale, squeezing all of the breath out. Notice how, as you focus on your breathing, you now are in a space of just presence and awareness. We've now made that mind body connection. I want to read to you from Jesus Calling from Sarah Young. And it actually happens to be today's. It just happened to coincide with kind of the message that I want to share with you. And she writes, as you look at the day before you, you see a twisted, complicated path with branches going off in all directions. You wonder how you can possibly find your way through that maze. Then you remember the one who is with you always, holding you by your right hand. You may recall my promise to guide you with my counsel, and you begin to relax. As you look again at the path ahead, you notice that a peaceful fog has settled over it, obscuring your view. You can see only a few steps in front of you. So you turn your attention more fully to me and begin to enjoy my presence. The fog is a protection for you, calling you back into the present moment. Although I inhabit all of space and time, You can communicate with me only here and now. Someday the fog will no longer be necessary, for you will have learned to keep your focus on me and on the path just ahead of you. Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 through 23 say, "The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness." This passage reminds us of the steadfast, never ending love of the Lord. That God is faithful, which translates to firm, steady, secure, fulfilling promises to men. So as we think back to this devotion, whatever lies ahead of us in terms of our day, our week, our month, our year, be reminded that God is there with us in the midst of all of it. Then we can just keep our eyes focused on the path ahead of us, taking the next right step, knowing that God will lay out the rest of the path for us. Maybe in your breath, it's 3 simple words. Great is your faithfulness. On your next inhale, gently sweep those arms wide, reaching all the way up. Bring the hands together and exhale to hands at heart center. Let's do a couple more like that. Inhale, filling in, filling up. Exhaling, bringing the hands to heart. Inhaling, maybe thinking, great is your faithfulness. And bring that into your heart. Just take a moment, checking in with your body and breath. Beautiful. We're going to go ahead and take a hold of the outsides of our knees and just do a few cat cows. So gather the knees toward you, begin to tuck and round, curling the tail under, rounding the spine, and bring your forehead toward your knees. Squeeze all that breath out. On the inhale, open those knees up, lifting the heart, arching the spine, drawing your skull back, taking your gaze to the heavens. Exhaling, squeezing, rounding the spine. Less of us and our worries, our concerns, our doubts, our fears. Inhaling, opening up, letting God fill that space with his promises, his steadiness, his trustworthiness. Good. One more time. Inhaling. Beautiful job. I'm going to go ahead and switch the legs out. We're just going to do some little torso circles here. So coming over to each knee, it doesn't matter which direction you go in. Curling the spine, rounding it as you come back. Perhaps exhaling as you come forward, squeeze all that breath out. Inhaling as you come back. Starting to loosen things up. Let's go in the other direction. And we're going to go ahead and extend the right leg out long and bring that left foot to the inside of your right leg. Flex the toes upward toward the ceiling or toward the heavens or toward the sky. Depends on where you are. Sit up nice and tall here and really get long into your spine. In fact, maybe even take your hands behind you for just a moment and really press down. Draw the shoulders back and down. Lift through the crown of the head, getting long, drawing that navel in, up, and back. Beautiful. Now keep all that length in your spine. On the inhale, reach the arms up. And then on the exhale, we're going to just reach forward. So get long here. Really stretch your fingertips away from the body, but keep the shoulders away from the ears. Good. Inhaling up. Exhaling. Reaching. Inhaling. And then exhale. Maybe you float your hands down. If you have a strap at home, you're more than welcome to wrap that strap around the ball of your foot. Just keep the shoulders away from those ears as you fold out. Maybe you want to take a hold of your leg or your foot if that's available. Always knowing that you can keep a bend in that extended leg. And just breathe here. Okay, begin to come up just halfway. You can hook your first two fingers around that big toe if you like, or you can hold on to the strap with your right hand. We're gonna take our hand to our left shoulder and really draw that shoulder back. So open this up. Stretch and reach the fingertips up, up, up. Get long here. Maybe even reach them back and open that heart a little bit. Yeah, we're going to slowly begin to reach up and over, but keep the shoulder away from the ear as you come into this beautiful lateral bend. Opening up that side body. Make sure you're not leaning forward. Our tendency might be to kind of collapse into this. So stack shoulder on shoulder. On your next inhale, come up. Let's plant that left hand behind us. We're going to reach the right hand forward and then come into a little bit of a back bend here. So stacking that left hand right underneath your left shoulder, stretching through those fingertips. It's kind of a variation of Wild Thing here, a nice gentle variation of it. Maybe your gaze goes toward your hand. Good. Exhale, slowly lower down. And then we're going to reach up and over. So we're going to come back into that lateral bend. Sorry, I'm choking myself with my scarf here. Inhale, come back up. Plant that hand, stretch and reach up and over. Good. Exhaling, lowering down, reaching. Inhaling, coming back, planting that hand, reaching up and over. Good. Go ahead and lower back down, coming back to that seated position. We're going to change out our legs. So now your left leg is extended, right foot comes in. Toes are pointing upward here, nice and grounded. On that inhale, we'll sweep, reaching up. Exhale, reach. Past your toes if that's available.
Are you doing that?
I think somebody just came on. If you could mute yourself, we can hear you. Thanks for muting. Awesome. Inhale, come on up. And then exhaling, hinging forward, reach, breathe it all out. Nice job. Inhaling up. And then exhaling, reaching. Again, you can let your hands float. And so here's a cool thing. If you happen to have a scarf, you could use that. I just figured that out. As your strap, if you want to have a strap here. Shoulders draw away from those ears. Otherwise, your hands can be on the ground or wrapped around your leg or foot, and just folding out. Again, take as much or a little bend in that extended leg as you need. And keep checking in if this bent knee is kind of lifting up, soften it down. Staying grounded evenly into both hips. Beautiful. Psalm 33 verse 4 says, "For the word of the Lord is upright, and all his work is done in faithfulness." That faithfulness means firmness, fidelity, steadfastness, steadiness, security. Again, fulfilling promises to men. We're going to come up halfway, hook the toe if you want to, or hold onto a strap if you have one. We'll take a hold of our shoulder, draw that right shoulder way back, reach that hand high, maybe even back a little bit, open into that heart. And then reach up and over, but keep the shoulder away from that ear. Breathe. Where's your breath? We'll slowly begin to come up. We'll plant that right hand behind us, stretch the left fingertips forward, and then reach up and over. Big stretch here. Again, your gaze can go at your hand or even toward that bottom hand. It's whatever feels best for your neck. On the exhale, floating down, reaching up and over. Inhaling, planting that hand, reaching that left arm up and over. Exhaling, coming back down, reaching. Beautiful. One more time. Nice job. We're going to go ahead and extend the legs out in front. And you may want to shake those legs out a little bit just after having that knee bent. Toes are going to point upward, and we're nice and grounded. So you might want to move some excess tissue out of the way. Sitting up nice and tall here, strong legs, strong core. Good. Go ahead and bring your right knee in. Let's give it a nice little squeeze first. So notice if you're kind of rolling back. Sit up nice and tall. Draw the shoulders back and down. Flex into both feet. Beautiful. We're going to bring that foot across the other leg. Plant it on the ground. Again, sitting up tall here. Take a hold of your knee with your left hand and then reach your right hand behind you. Plant it. Root down to rise up. So really push down, but lift up. And then we'll begin to twist from the belly, the chest, and then the head. So we're twisting in the direction of that knee. Good. And as it becomes available, you may be able to put that elbow to the outside of your knee. The left elbow, right knee. Just make sure you're not forcing the twist here. Beautiful. Slowly unravel, come back to center. We'll pick up that knee, squeeze it in once again, just for a moment. lifting through the core, and then extend that leg out, hold on to the leg for just a moment, and then point and flex the foot, just for fun. You're stretching into that hamstring at the same time, stretching into the back of that leg. Good. And then slowly float that foot down, and we'll draw the left knee in, sitting up nice and tall, really hug it in here. Both feet are flexed, core is engaged. Beautiful. We'll go ahead and plant that foot to the outside of your other leg. Notice though, if you are leaning, you may choose to put that foot to the inside. I should have mentioned that earlier, sorry. So wherever you need to be, either on the inside or outside of that leg, sit up tall here. We'll take a hold of that leg with the right hand, bring the left hand behind. So press down first, lengthening, and then begin the twist from the belly, the chest, and then the head. Continue to breathe in your twist. Remembering that twists are so cleansing, detoxifying, just letting go of all this stuff that keeps you from remembering how faithful and good God is. You might want to take your elbow to the outside of that knee or thigh. So maybe take a moment throughout this practice to think of times that God came through for you and the ways in which He has shown Himself to be faithful. It helps to prepare our heart for next week, for Thanksgiving. These reminders are so powerful. They give us hope. They give us an anchor. They also help to direct our steps. We can trust God's word. We can trust that the steps He's going to lay out for us are going to lead us somewhere good. Beautiful. We'll slowly unravel the spine. Good. Lift that leg in and then extend it out, holding onto the back of the leg, and you can point and flex here if you like. Keep that core engaged. We're lifting. So this is like almost like a supported half boat. Beautiful. And then we'll slowly float that foot down. Then into both of your legs and bring the feet down. We'll press ourselves up, finding a standing forward fold here. So feet will be about hip width distance apart. Feet are parallel to one another. Take a big bend in those knees and let your belly come to your thighs. We want that belly contacting the thighs. That helps to protect our spine and our low back. Draw the shoulders away from the ears. And maybe even bring your hands to the backs of your legs. So we have a nice straight spine, shoulders away from those ears, belly pressing to the thighs, and then let your head hang down. Beautiful. Lift halfway and bend those knees. So we're still holding onto the backs of the legs, but we have more of a bend in the knees. Our chest is resting on our thighs, or belly too. Crown is moving forward. And then on the exhale, just tilt it down. So the crown starts to move down as the tail lifts. We straighten those legs a little more. Good, one more time like that. Excuse me. Bending the knees. Holding on to the backs of those legs, really chambering those shoulders back and down. And then exhaling, folding it out. Beautiful job. Inhale, lift halfway for length. So if you have blocks, you may want those underneath your fingertips here. We're lengthening the spine. Nice flat back. Good. Bend into your right knee, placing your right hand just below your face. Take that left hand out to the side like a wing. And then we'll begin to rotate the torso, taking that hand high. Beautiful. Bend into both knees and then bring both arms out to the sides like wings. Nice little airplane squat here. Strong in your foundation, long in the spine, nice and engaged through that core. Good. Go ahead and place that left hand down, straighten into your right leg, and begin to rotate the torso over to the right. Fingertips reach up. Lots of breath. Nice job. Both arms out to the sides like wings, airplane squat here. And then we're going to bring the backs of the hands together, tuck and curl and round the spine here. So we're doing like a little cat with the knees bent. On the inhale, slide those hands back, open the heart, arching the spine. Exhaling, tuck and round it out, back to the hands, come together, curl that seat under. Inhaling, opening the heart, draw the wings back. Exhale, tuck and round. Good. Inhale, open the heart. Stretch and reach all the way up to standing. Really plant those feet, root down to rise up. Lengthen. And then on your exhale, gently bring your hands, excuse me, to your heart center or alongside your hips. So we want the heart to be nice and open wherever we are. So draw the shoulder blades back and down, but keep the back broad. So maybe even envision sliding the armpits toward your hips. Lifting through the crown of the head. Beautiful. We're going to shift our weight into our left leg. Pick up the right knee. You might even pick up your hands, but if that's not available, just bring the hands to your hips. You can even have your toes on the earth. So your choice. Go with what works best for your body. Drawing that navel into your spine, lengthening. And then cross your right leg over your left. We're going to sink down, bring the arms all the way out into flying eagle. Now that right foot can be on the earth or it can kind of float. You can flex that foot, and if you want to take a wrap or a bind here, you can slide that right foot behind your left ankle. Breathe. Nice job. On the inhale, pick that knee back up again. Toes can be touching the earth here. Shoulders down. Float that foot all the way down. Kind of just shake it out a little here, side to side. Then we're going to plant into that right foot. So really plug in. Again, we're shifting our weight. We're going to pick up that left leg. So again, it can be as high as you want, or toes can be on the earth. You might choose to reach the arms up. Focus on your breath, really lift. And then on the exhale, we'll cross that leg over, bend into both knees, arms out to the side. Again, you may choose to have that foot floating. You might take a wrap here, keeping the shoulders away from the ears. Check in with your breath. Focus on something off in front of you that's not moving, that helps with balance. Good. On the next inhale, coming back up. And then float that hand down and float the foot down, float those hands down, excuse me, back to heart center alongside those hips. Nice. On the inhale, sweep those arms all the way up. Exhale, bend the knees, folding forward. On the inhale, lift halfway and then step your feet back. So here, you might choose to have the knees down, tops of the feet to the earth, hands underneath those shoulders, fingers fan nice and wide. And then we want a nice straight spine. So lift from the underside of that belly, make sure you don't have an arch in the spine. You may choose to lift the knees and press the heels away from the body and draw those thighs toward each other. Keep breathing. Beautiful. Pressing back, finding either a down dog or a child's pose. So if you prefer child's pose, knees will be on the earth, tail goes back toward your heels as you fold over those legs. In down dog, hips are lifting up and back, ears alongside the biceps. Just kind of walk it out here. Your crown moves toward your thumbs, tail lift toward the sky. Good, and then we'll all meet in child's for a moment. If you're healing in your knees, you may choose to put something behind the knees or underneath the hips. So you might choose a rolled up blanket or some blocks under those hips. Reach those hands forward if you like the length in the side body. You can also stack your hands. You can even reach your hands for your feet if you really want to get tiny like a ball. This is such a comforting pose for the body, for the mind. Takes us back into kind of that tight little ball that makes us feel safe and secure. Just remember that faithfulness also means security. And so we can feel that sense of security, that groundedness in our faith, through our faith. Psalm chapter 119, verse 90 says, your faithfulness endures to all generations. You've established the earth and it stands fast. So as we look to the earth, we can just see evidence of God's faithfulness. And that God's faithfulness doesn't change generation to generation. We're going to slowly begin to come up, coming back onto our knees. And we're going to take our left foot, kind of angle it behind us to the left, and then take the right leg out to the side here. So that knee is stacking right underneath our hip, and then we have the leg extended. And then slowly begin to come up. So you may choose to bring that foot forward a little bit, just if you're feeling like a little pinch into the hip. You might also choose to angle the foot out a little instead of forward. So just kind of see what works best with your body. And then on the inhale, stretch and reach up. Beautiful. We'll float that right hand down and begin to hinge to the right. I'm not mirroring you now. So we're all going to the right. Keep breathing. On the inhale, slowly bring that hand back up, and then we'll float the other hand down. This is a great place for a block, so feel free to put a block under that hand and reach up and over. Keep breathing. Good. On your next inhale, reach that arm up, and then we're going to float the hands down in front of us, but make sure they're in front of the shoulders so they're not right underneath your shoulders. Span those fingers wide. And then options, you can just bring that chest back into kind of a half dog variation, or we can lift those hips high into a crooked dog. Again, ears line up with the insides of your biceps, shoulders draw away from the ears. Keep breathing. Nice job. Slowly float your left knee back down. Walk those hands back into kind of like that more tabletop variation. And we're just going to do a couple cat cows here. So lift the tail, press the navel down, slide the heart forward, lift the crown. On the exhale, curl the seat under, draw the navel in, round your back, chin to chest. And just move like this a few times. Beautiful. Come neutral with the spine. We'll bring that leg back in. So now the right knee is underneath the right hip. Take the left foot out to the side. And then we'll slowly lift up. Again, you might choose to bring that leg forward a little bit and out to the side. So just kind of see what works best for your body. And then inhale, sweep, bring those arms up. On the exhale, float that hand down. I like to bring it behind the leg so we're not pushing on the knee. We'll come up and over. Inhaling, coming back up. And then exhale, float that hand back down, reaching up and over. Feel free to use a block underneath your hand here just to bring it a little higher if you need. On the inhale, come back up, use core strength. And then exhale, float those hands out in front of you. Fan those fingers wide, index fingers point forward. And again, you can press back into kind of a half dog. You can tuck those toes, lift the hips, bring the hips high into a crooked dog. Keep breathing. On your next exhale, gently float that knee down. Good. Walk those hands back toward you. So they're stacking underneath the shoulders. Let's do a few cat cows. So inhale, lift the tail, press the navel down, slide the heart forward. Exhale, curl that tail under, draw the navel in, round it out. Inhale, lift that tail, arch the spine. It ripples up the spine from the tail to the crown. Exhale, take it in the other direction. Good. Coming back to tabletop, we'll bring that knee in. And now just get really tight in a little child's pose. The thighs are close together, feet are close together. Maybe your hands kind of tuck underneath those feet. Lots of breath here. Breathe into your back body. Deuteronomy chapter 7, verse 9 says, "Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God, who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations." Know therefore that the Lord your God is God, the faithful God, who keeps covenant and steadfast love with those who love him and keep his commandments to 1,000 generations. You're going to slowly begin to come up. Tuck those toes under, and then we're going to come back onto our heels, or onto our balls of our feet. So I just kind of literally went from that kneeling back, lifting the knees and pressing into the balls of the feet. So take a moment here. We're stretching the backs of the legs, but we're also kind of starting to strengthen our feet and ankles. We're going to start to balance a little bit. So maybe bring your hands to your heart. See if that's happening for you. Hug those thighs toward each other. Draw that navel in, up, and back. And then can we press into those feet to rise all the way up? Awesome. Step your feet wide. We'll angle those toes out. Okay, so the toes point out a little bit. And we're going to bend into those knees and let the knees start to track with our feet. So outer rotation of these thighs. Notice if that tail kind of wants to slide back, and see if you can kind of tuck that tail under, draw your navel in, up and back. Beautiful. Come into cactus arms here. Elbows are the height of your shoulders, fingers stacked right on top of those elbows. Good. And then lift through the crown of the head. Keep the shoulders back and down. Nice. Draw the elbows back. Keep drawing the shoulders down. On the inhale, straighten and lift up. Lengthen. On the exhale, take those arms wide, bend the knees, slowly come down and touch the earth. Good. Inhaling, coming all the way back up. And then exhale, bring hands back to heart center and back into cactus. Beautiful. Inhale, straighten and lift. Exhale, take those arms wide, bend the knees, reach for the earth. Inhaling, remembering God has established the earth and the heavens. Exhale, hands to heart, arms into cactus. Good. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, take it wide. Little sunflower movements here. Inhaling, coming up. Exhale, hands to heart and back to cactus. Good. Let's do 2 more of those. Inhale, lift. Exhale, go wide, reach for the floor or the earth. Inhaling, coming up. Exhale, hands to heart and out. Good. One more time. Inhale, reach. Exhale. Inhale it up. Exhale, hands to heart and back to cactus. Good. Hold here a couple breaths. Good. Now, sunflowers move in the direction of the sun. So imagine for a moment you're a big, beautiful sunflower. Draw the shoulders away from those ears. And we're going to imagine that the direction of the sun is now to the right. So begin to orient yourself to the right, but keep your knees stacking over those feet. Come back to center. And let's take it in the other direction. We're always following the direction of the sun, where God is taking us, where he's leading us. And that makes us faithful. When we respond to his faithfulness with our own trust, our own belief, and walk it out that way. Good. Coming back to center. Good. Bring your hands to your thighs or to your hips. We'll straighten those legs. Angle the toes in a little bit. Slide your tail back, leading with the heart. Long, straight spine as we fold it out. Good. You might even trace the backs of your legs if that feels good as you allow the crown to come down. Tail slides up, shoulders draw away from the ears. Beautiful. Bring those hands back down to the ground, lifting halfway. We're going to walk our hands over to the right, bend into that right knee, and begin to sink down if that's available. If it's not available in your knee, only bend the knee a little, and then just kind of fold over that leg. And if you're down here, you may want to turn the left toes upward. You might even start to balance, bringing a hand or both hands to your heart center. It's hard in grass. All right. Keep breathing. Today's not my day on this side. Just give it a moment to kind of play with it. Good. And then we'll slowly move over to the other side. Again, you might just be here with the arms, the hands on the earth and a bent knee. If you want to come all the way down, bring that tail down toward the heel. Maybe turn the toes up. Maybe play with balance here. This is called Black Swan. Lots of breath. Couple more breaths here as you kind of play with this. One side's always better than the other. This is my better side. Maybe it's yours too. Maybe not. Let that go. Good. And then we'll slowly begin to bring our seat back down to the earth. No delicate movement there. No fancy transition. All right, and we'll make our way onto our backs. So draw your knees towards your chest, give them a nice squeeze, rocking side to side. Just feel the weight of the knees, just releasing toward your belly and your chest. Good, let's take those knees wide. Draw the shoulders back and down. Soften as much of your seat toward the earth as possible. So as much of your spine is grounding into that earth as you can have. And then we'll see if it's available to reach through the opening, hooking our first two fingers around our big toes or reaching for the outer edges of our feet. If that's not available, just take a hold of the backs of your calves or the backs of your knees. And then we're going to begin to stack our feet over our knees. So flex those feet like you're holding up the ceiling or the sky. Rock a little here, side to side in a happy baby. Just make sure the shoulders aren't creeping up by the ears here. Also, that tail wants to lift up. So see if you can soften it down toward the ground. And then maybe you just want to settle in here for a few breaths. Good. Release the grip, let the legs go wide. And then we're going to bring the right leg over the left. So cross the legs over each other like you're stacking your knees, and then bend the knees. Hug those legs in. Maybe you want to come up and bring your forehead towards your knee and squeeze it out. Maybe while you're up here, you want to take a hold of that foot over there on the left. Flex that foot and draw it toward your left hip. It's a great piriformis stretch. It's great for people who have low back pain or hip pain. Tight psoas, tight piriformis, they go kind of hand in hand. Good. Release the grip on that foot if you have one. Keeping the legs crossed, let's bring the left foot down with the right leg draped over the left. Take the arms out to the sides, and we'll allow both of the knees to go over to the left. Just taking a nice twist here. You may choose to soften into that right shoulder, gazing over your right hand. Breathe. In Hebrews chapter 10, verse 23, it says, "Let us hold fast the confession of our hope without wavering, for he who promised is faithful." So it's on us to hold fast to our hope without wavering, remembering that God is faithful. He is unchanging. We're the ones that have that tendency to kind of wander off the path, to let go of God's hand, to allow worry and fear to creep in, and doubt. So hold fast, hold on. Don't waver. Slowly begin to unravel. And then we'll unravel those knees, bringing the knees in. Let's take those legs wide. Then we'll bring the left knee over the right and into both knees. You can just hold onto the legs here if you like, or you can interlace your hands outside that right leg, coming up, squeezing it out. While you're up here, you may choose to take a hold of your left foot there on the right side and hug that in toward your hip, but make sure you flex that foot to protect the ankle and the knee. Good. Slowly lower down. We'll lower that right foot down. Take the arms to the sides. Allow both legs to just go to the right. Maybe your gaze goes left. Really soften into that left shoulder. If it's as if it's weighted. Maybe you're breathing in through the nose, out an open mouth, just letting go. There's so much stuff that rattles around in our brain that can confuse us sometimes or create doubt and fear. God is faithful all the time. He is steadfast. He is unchanging. Keeps his promises. He is trustworthy. You can hold fast to him. You can be secure in that. Beautiful. Slowly unravel that twist. Unravel the legs. Another knees to chest here for a few breaths. Kind of releasing the spine a little bit more. This helps to bring things back to homeostasis. Come into a big, beautiful, full body stretch. Lengthen fingertips to toes. Really feel that stretch. Somebody accidentally unmuted themselves, I think. So if you could go ahead and mute yourself, that would be fantastic. All right. Long, big stretch. And then just make your way into your final rest position. So get comfortable, let those feet splay open. Turn the palms upward, allowing the shoulders to release away from those ears. Good. And I'm going to reread you the devotion I read at the beginning, partially because some of you came on late, but also I want you to now listen to it in the context of God's faithfulness, okay? And it says, as you look at the day before you, you will see a twisted, complicated path with branches going off in all directions. You wonder how you can possibly find your way through that maze. Then you remember the one who is with you always, holding you by your right hand. You recall my promise to guide you with my counsel, and you begin to relax. As you look again at the path ahead, you notice that a peaceful fog has settled over it, obscuring your view. You can see only a few steps ahead of you. So you turn your attention more fully to me and begin to enjoy my presence. The fog is a protection for you, calling you back to the present moment. Although I inhabit all of space and time, you can communicate with me only here and now. Someday the fog will no longer be necessary, for you will have learned to keep your focus on me and on the path just ahead of you. You settle in with those words. Be reminded as you come into this time of just silent reflection. Slowly begin to bring your attention and your awareness back to this present moment. Feel the weight of your body contacting the earth. Notice all the points of your body that are touching the ground. Begin to notice the breath in your lungs, just the rise and fall of your natural breath. Begin to bring some movement to your fingers and your toes. Maybe even begin to turn your head from side to side. Just a slow awakening. Gather your knees toward your chest, just giving yourself a sweet hug here, appreciation for showing up today, to hear from God, to make time and space for that connection for yourself. Now, as you're ready, roll to one side. Just take your time. Pause there for a moment, just noticing your breath. Returning our mind to Lamentations chapter 3, verses 22 and 23. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. As you're ready, begin to press yourself up to a seated position. Take your time. And once you arrive there, bring your hands together at heart center, lengthening the spine, but bow your head. Just take a moment. Dear Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for your faithfulness. Lord, we know you are steady, you are steadfast, that your love never, ever ends, that you are always with us, that you are always there to guide us, that you are there as a safe place to land, even when we falter, even when we go off the path, even when we allow doubt and fear to creep in, or whatever it might be. You are unchanging. Your promises are true. We can rely upon that. Father, as we navigate this week, this month, the holiday season, the end of this year, the results of the election, this COVID pandemic, Father, continue to remind us, come back to you. We love you and we thank you. And it's in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.